Namaste. I, Samir Kale, once again welcome you all to my channel Reiki World Peace and Omni Holistic Center. In this video, I am trying to explain some comparison between the traditional astrology and Ramal astrology. There is a lot of difference between these two astrologies. So, what is the difference that I am going to explain? I request you all to subscribe to my channel and watch this video till the end so you know exactly the differences between the traditional astrology or Patrika astrology and Ramal astrology. Very first of all, traditional astrology. This is very much popular in India and some countries where people believe about the astrology and they come over to know about their future. Sometimes they want some solutions. And for traditional astrology, the basic requirement is your complete date of birth, time of birth, place of birth, and full name. Now, when you provide these details, then the traditional astrological projection is done and you get a complete horoscope. That is called in India Patrika. Now, whenever you have such Patrika or horoscope with you for traditional astrology, then you can consult any traditional astrologer who can read and who can tell you about what can be done. And of course, he has the ability to read the Patrika and then guide you with your questions and provide you good solutions. Traditional astrology basically works with the planetary positions, and of course the time of birth and place of birth is very important because the time of birth and place of birth has some horizons and some mathematical calculations as well. The time of birth, usually we know when we are born. When the mother is inside the labor room in the hospital, and once the child is born, then the doctors tell you or the nursing staff tell you the exact time. So this is the time of birth is considered while preparing your traditional horoscope or traditional Patrika. The most important thing is the time of birth must be very accurate. If there is any discrepancy or some mistake, then the whole Patrika or astrology horoscope is not correct and sometimes it's void. This correction has been done in the Ramal astrology because the Ramal astrology, when it was introduced to the people of the world for the first time, it originates from the very old Mahabharata epic in India. And at that time, the place of birth and the time of birth was not important. Only the name of the person, and of course, if you know the date of birth, the complete date of birth, that is also good option. And the Ramal astrology or Ramal Patrika usually is calculated on the basis of three important factors. The first is 9 planets. Second is 5 elements. And the third is some tantra, good tantra and positive tantra. That is also included in the Ramal astrology. The tantra is missing in the traditional astrology. 5 elements also missing in the traditional astrology. So it is basically very important to clear off that some correction is always there, and Ramal astrology is somewhat more accurate and more comprehensive, because the time of birth is not there and the place of birth is also not there. So the correction of time of birth is not necessary. Place of birth is not there because in the Ramal astrology, place is not important. Wherever you are born, it doesn't matter, because the place calculation is not done, and that is also not important as well. The second thing is, if we compare the traditional astrology and the Ramal astrology, in India particularly now the doctors ask you that on which date particular, if you have any particular date and time, so you can tell them and they can go for the surgery or cesarean. If there is any child born with normal delivery, then his patrika or his traditional projections are more accurate. But if I tell my astrologer that my child was born, is going to born with the cesarean operation, and I told already all doctors that I want my child to be born on some specific date and the time, then his patrika is not so important to prepare, because already we have consulted the astrologer and whatever he has guided us accordingly, that surgery was done. So this way, this is the basic difference between the traditional astrology and Ramal astrology. The Ramal astrology also considers the Tantra part, because this is the only astrology system where if you have some negative energy influence or some Tantra influence of bad practice, then that is also reflects in your traditional Ramal astrology calculations. Ramal astrology is based upon the calculations done by the very ancient person, Shakuni, and he belongs to the Mahabharata epic. Whatever dices he used at that time, those dices were of ivory. But now the ivory is not possible. So we make it with the 8 elements, or Ashtadhatu we call it. Ashtadhatu or Panchadhatu, 5 elements. And this way these dices are prepared. With those dices, when someone wants to know about his projection, astrological projection with Ramal astrology, he throws the dices and his name and the complete date of birth, if available, he tells us, and accordingly on those calculations the Ramal astrology patrika is prepared. Traditional astrology has also the 16 houses, and in Ramal astrology also has the 16 houses. I am not going into the technical detail of the astrology patrika, but the thing is, in this video it was important to compare between the traditional astrology and the Ramal astrology part, and only that much I am covering in this video today. The most important thing about the Ramal astrology, whatever the solutions any Ramal astrologer tells you, you have to follow it. If you follow it, then the results are wonderful. In the same thing applies in case of the traditional astrology, but as I said, the time of birth, if the time of birth is not accurate, then the whole patrika is changed. So it's very important to know whether the time of birth you have is accurate or correct, or otherwise you can simply go with the Ramal astrology thing. Ramal astrology also has the solutions for bad tantra. If you talk about the traditional astrology, it does not have. In the traditional astrology, of course, the planetary positions are calculated, and accordingly the solutions are what ring should wear it or the locket you should wear it, and the same projection is also done in the Ramal astrology. But I also do the traditional astrology part and the Ramal astrology. But when I learned the Ramal astrology long years back, then I found the solutions provided in the Ramal astrology are more accurate compared to the traditional astrology. So at the moment, I think this is for all, and that's all for the today. And in this video, whatever I have covered, if I recollect that something is missed, I will add those things in my next video. I thank you very much for watching the video till the end, and once again I request you to ask questions, because in the description box email and the WhatsApp number is provided. If you have any queries and the questions, definitely you should ask. Thank you very much.